All right, everybody, let's get started. Today's our regular meeting in accordance with the order of the Office of the Governors issued on March 16, 2020. Excuse me. In accordance with the order of the Office of the Governors issued on March 16, 2020, the City Council of the City of Cotulla, Texas will hold a regular meeting at 7 p.m. on Thursday, July 8, 2021 at the Alexander Convention Center, 290 North IH 35 Road, Cotulla, Texas 78014. City Council will have the option to attend in person or by conference call. The citizens of Cotulla will also be able to listen into the meeting by video conference. Roll call. I believe Mr. Juan Garcia, did he call in?
He called and said he was sick and he asked to be excused.
Councilman, I need a first motion to excuse Mr. Juan Garcia. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens to be heard. In order to limit the number of people in attendance per the Governor's order, public comments can only be accepted in writing no later than 30 minutes in advance of the meeting by sending them to City Secretary Bianca Maldonado at biancam.citysecretary@gmail.com. City Council cannot discuss any present issue, nor may any action be taken on any given issue at this time. Ms. City Secretary, was there any citizens to be heard?
No, sir.
At this time, I would like to inform the public that on September 1st, the Governor's order will be lifted and the citizens of Cotulla will be able to attend the meetings as of September 1st.
And so the next regular scheduled meeting will be the second Thursday of September.
Second Thursday of September will be our first meeting of Cotulla. If you want to attend, it will be open at that time. Moving on to item number 5, departmental and committee reports.
You have written reports in your packets. I do have water, and we have a special report related to water because we had some serious issues after the lightning storm on Monday night. We had severe damage at all our pumping stations, and we ended up having to do a temporary boil water notice because our pressure in our water lines reached the level of 20, and it requires us to go ahead and do a boil water notice. But our staff was very prompt in doing what was needed and to getting the system back up, and we were able to lift the boil water notice within a day's time because of their efficiency in what they were doing. But I'd like for David to explain more or less what took place that Monday night and what caused the drop in our water pressure and why that happened.
Okay.
David?
Yes. Hi, Council Mayor. On July 5th, which is Monday, we had a lightning storm that came through probably around 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. When it came through, it damaged 2 of our water wells pretty badly to the point where they weren't operable. I got a list of damage, different things that occurred. When this happened, it affected every water well, but it affected it in different ways. And like Mr. Dovalina said, when the pressure goes below the emergency operating level of 20 psi, where it's automatic, we have to issue a boil water notice. We want to, we don't, we got to do it. So that's what we did. Pressures, I checked pressures throughout the system. We had pressures of 10 and 15 psi in some areas, and that's what prompted me to do the boil water notice. That was corrected within 2 hours' time. We were able to correct it. But once it happens, it happens. So we contacted TCEQ, we let them know what happened, and that we issued a boil water notice, and pretty much they told me just send the paperwork to me, and that's it. So we did that. I do have a list of damages. Well number 8. Well number 8 is what we consider to be the old swimming pool well, because that's where the swimming pool used to be. Well number 8, on the actual wellhead itself, there's a 300 horsepower motor, and that 300 horsepower motor exploded. When it started up, it already had been hit by lightning is the assumption, and when it started up, it literally exploded. We had here for that, we had a rebuilt 300 horsepower motor on standby just in case anything like this ever happens. We took that motor, we contacted Peerless. They have the proper equipment to reinstall the new motor. We took the new motor over for them, and they installed it. By the end of the day, the well was operational.
David, are our wells grounded?
Yes, there's on the towers. There's actual double grounding on the towers and the panel boxes. That particular well, the one we built in 2015, that panel box there has all the bells and whistles. I believe we spent somewhere around about $100,000 for that panel box alone, and we're really curious and really wondering why something like this is happening when we've put so much into it to guarantee that it won't happen. When that's going to bring us to probably having an electrical engineer come in and do a study of our well system and see why the lightning and everything else is affecting
And
it.
we're probably going to ask the manufacturer to come in and look at it, because this is the second time that it happens at that
Yes.
location.
Besides being grounded, is there any way that you can install those little antennas
We
where
do.
the lightning can bounce back?
We have all that stuff,
You have
Yes,
that
sir.
right there?
and it still goes through.
Okay,
Yeah.
But it
The
hits
surge
the
protection.
starters, it hits everything.
okay,
But we think there's something else there.
okay.
Yeah. Including at well 8, there's a CPU unit inside the building that we have there, and that's to operate the SCADA system. It's like a transfer CPU that transfers it to the old city hall. There was a circuit board in there, and it fried also. So like the SCADA was inoperable at that point. That particular well and tower over there is what
Explain
controls.
what the SCADA does.
Okay. The SCADA is a computer system that we have for the water, and pretty much what it does is it controls the water. It turns the wells on, it turns the wells off, ground storage tank, booster pumps, high storage pumps. It actually runs it for us so that we don't have to manually do it 24 hours a day. We received that system in 2012, 2011. Prior to that, that's literally what we did. We would flip switches all day and half the night to keep the well system running. So it was a great relief to get it. And it really, we go and sit down at a computer screen, and I can see all the towers, our booster pumps, our wells, and I can see exactly what's going on in that system, and just from that one computer. When that goes down, it hurts us, And we realized it pretty quickly after we got one other well only had it just tripped out, and we reset it, and we were able to get that one operational. But as soon as that happened, we realized the SCADA wasn't working. So we said, okay, well, we're gonna have to go 24 hours and do turn them on and off, and that's just what we did until today at 4 o'clock. We got the SCADA operational again. There was 2 circuit boards that burned, one at the Courthouse Well and one at the swimming pool. Those circuit boards cost the city, I believe, $5,200 a piece for that alone. So we got it. That's operational. There's still one little bug that we see in it. At the well 8, when we turn the computer on, the well's automatically turning on. It's not shutting down like it's supposed to. But there is a transducer in the ground that's reading pressure, and I believe that there may be something wrong with that also. So we're going to go back to Microcom, which is the people that installed the SCADA, and get the part and replace that, and hopefully it works out. So moving on, the Courthouse Well, which is well number 5. Inside the panel box there, we have a soft starter. Soft starter, what it does is that when the actual well motor turns on, it'll make the well motor ramp up slowly until it gets to its top speed. One of the big benefits is the cost of power. Because when we started instantly, we get hit. We get hit with a high startup bill. When we use a soft starter, it eats that up, and we don't get charged the same because we're not taking that amount of demand of power away from the city at one time. So that burned up, and that deemed that well inoperable. The circuit board for the CPU on the SCADA also burned up at that well. Well number 7. Okay, well number 7, I had out of service. There was a water leak there on the property for the main line that comes out of the building. I actually shut the well down for that reason because I didn't want it to get worse. We attempted to use the well, even though it had the leak there, and sure enough, as soon as we started it, the line exploded. So we had to shut it all back down again. Jesse and Roland and Arturo went over there and repaired it and got it taken care of, and then we got that one back online. The issue, the reason we didn't have it done right away is because we didn't have the parts in stock to do it. We had the parts on order. So it ended up working out that we got the parts and got it done. Well number 9. Well number 9 was all it was is that the actual panel box there realized there was an issue and it shut it down. So really it was a matter of going over there, hitting a button and resetting the panel box and then putting it on hand.
So basically a second.
Yeah, that one did its job. That's the only one that did its job. It did its job. So the other ones did not. So, but that's really how we got through, was with that one well. You know, we didn't have 100 leaks or 150 leaks throughout the town, so the one well made it. Not like when we had the freeze and we had leaks everywhere. That one well was able to keep up, you know, and it was raining, so people weren't watering or anything. So that's really how we got through.
So right now, is there a boiling water restriction?
The boil water notice was rescinded yesterday at noon. We gave out flyers. We posted on the website and on Facebook that it was rescinded.
Okay.
So, and when we have a boil water notice like that, we generally go to the businesses and we post it on the doors at the businesses, just because we don't have the manpower or staff to go to every person in town. And TCEQ, they say that we have to make a good faith effort, and that's what we accomplished. So, but it was rescinded yesterday.
We have a meeting with the insurance people on Wednesday. Bianca and I are going to meet with them, and we basically have a $25,000 deductible, but we well exceeded that $25,000, so we're going to file a claim against the insurance to see how much money we can get reimbursed, time and labor charges and other things that are normally not there. We're going to add to the deal so that we can increase that claim to the level that we think we should be reimbursed. And so we will be discussing with the TML representative the claim that we're going to file.
So right now, do you all have like a backup motor just in case it does happen again?
Right now I do not have a 300 horsepower backup motor, but I have a 200 horsepower backup motor, which is for all the other wells except for well 8.
Okay.
So that's a $25,000 motor at well 8.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate to have it. The last time that it burned up, it was actually warranted. So we rebuilt the one we had in site, and then they gave us a brand new motor for free.
Okay.
And so we're going to rebuild the motor that
That burned.
That worked?
Yes, they're going to come next week and actually pick that one up, and I'm going to get a quote to rebuild it.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other departmental reports?
No, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Is there any questions? I'm here to answer.
Yeah,
If
thank
anybody
you.
else has questions.
Thank you.
Any other questions on departmental reports? If not, moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, June 10, 2021. Councilman, if you still need a moment to review the minutes. If not, I need a first motion to approve item number 6.
I have a question, sir.
On the items that, because I did not attend that meeting, is on these items that were approved, do they have a specific date when it starts? Like on items 7, 8, and 9?
What are they?
I believe number 7 is the noise ordinance, and the other one is for political signs and banners and things like that, and number 9 is the current, the Prio noise is current.
They go into effect immediately.
I made it, okay, appreciate that.
Any other questions on minutes? Was there any changes, Ms. City Secretary? No changes were made, Councilman. Now I need a first motion to approve item number 6. First by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertucci. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action on a resolution of the City of Cotulla, Texas for the proposed county maintenance of certain city roads.
This is a resolution that was prepared by the attorney for LaSalle County, Mr. Shaughnessy. The county, I believe in precinct 1 and in precinct 6, received 2 grants from TxDOT, and the grants can be used for maintenance if there is an interlocal agreement between the city and the county. The roads have to be on the county road system, and they have to be added by the county court. The judge indicated, and I think he's met with some of you, where he has indicated that he's willing to allow this action to take place to help the city fix some of the roads. And so we believe that we're going to be able to get some roads fixed in precinct 1 and in precinct 6 that we had previously talked about. And so what has to happen is those particular roads have to be added. We have to pass a resolution indicating that we're in agreement that this take place, and then we also have to do a solicitation for an engineering contract to design those roads. And I believe the county is also in the process of also soliciting an engineer to comply with whatever the requirements are of the TxDOT grant. And so this resolution complies with all the requirements that are necessary for us to be able to participate with the county on those road improvements inside the city. And we recommend that the council approve the resolution.
Councilman, any questions on the resolution?
No, sir.
Item number 7. We have a current interlocal agreement with them, right?
We have current interlocal agreements, but since this is a new grant,
For a grant.
we're required to do this new resolution.
Excellent. I need a first motion to approve item number 7. First motion by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, discussion and possible action on a resolution of the City of Petula electing 1 alderman to serve as mayor pro tem for a term of 1 year.
I'd like to put my name.
I'm Alejandro Garcia.
I'd like to put my name in there.
So, in this case, we have Mr.
Basically, the council can nominate, and the individual council people can nominate themselves. This is a ceremonial type of significant item. Usually what has happened is that the senior council people who have been on council kind of rotate. I know Mr. Juan Garcia had already expressed that he didn't want to be a mayor pro tem. He is the senior ranking council member You have Mr. Certuche and Mr. Alejandro Garcia that are senior council members as well. And then we have the two newly elected council members, and then you just basically take a vote on whoever is nominated.
So, Mr. Sartuche, you're the senior alderman right now.
Yes, sir.
I need a first motion to,
And he's the senior alderman.
and also you, Mr.
But you
Reynaldo
have-
Garcia.
But you have a self-nomination,
Yes.
Right,
and you have a motion from the
Alejandro
floor.
Garcia.
for Alejandro, who just came on board, sir.
Well, I'm saying you can do whichever way you want.
Okay,
If he has a motion and you have two nominations, you need to just take a vote.
one at a time.
Yes?
Okay. I need a motion to approve Mr.
To select.
To select Mr. Certuche as the mayor pro tem for 1 year. I need a first motion.
I move.
Wait,
First motion made by Mr.
Well,
Reynaldo Garcia.
It's not a motion, you need to count the votes.
Okay. So far, I got two
Two.
votes.
It's two.
So I got two votes for Mr. Certuche and for Mr. Alejandro Garcia for mayor's pro tem. I need your vote. Please raise your hand.
Me.
2 and 2. I will vote for the senior alderman, in this case being Mr. Certuche, since we are in a rotation and it's the right thing to do. So, Mr. Certuche, you will be the alderman.
thank you.
I need a first motion to approve item number 8, to accept Mr. Certuche as
Me.
the alderman for 1 year. First
Me.
motion made by Mr. Handel Garcia, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank
opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Joe.
Moving on to item number 9, presentation of financial statements by Mr. Jorge Flores. Mr. Flores, welcome.
Mayor, thank you. Council members, good evening. First report is the sales tax report. For the month of July, the city received $126,716. So for the first 10 months of the year, the city has received $1,085,802. Next page is the hotel motel tax collection report. For the month of June, the city received $27,188. So for the third quarter, the city received $199,232. And year to date, for the first 3 quarters, $397,891. On the next page is the statement of revenues and expenditures. Page 1, general fund, total revenues, $1,414,207. On page number 4 is the total expenses of $1,976,455 for net loss of $562,248. The water sewer fund on page number 5, total revenues $1,239,459. On the next page, total expenses of $1,110,548 for net income of $128,911. The gas fund on page number 7, revenues of $323,384. Expenses of $199,907 for net income of $123,476. And on page number 8 is the solid waste fund. Revenues $592,975. Expenses of $668,237 for a net loss of $75,261. Are there any questions?
No, sir.
The American Rescue Act has not been vigorously pursued by the governor. And in fact, Texas has been one of the states that has acted the slowest in making the request. The request has to be made to the U.S. Treasury Department. Every city in Texas that is under 50,000 is considered to be a non-entitlement entity, or as the state calls it, a non-entitlement unit. And those funds are going to be distributed by the Texas Department of Emergency Management. The allocations have already been made by the U.S. Treasury Department. These monies, there is going to be a seminar for us to go online and to see what monies or where the monies can be spent. The understanding that we had already received before is that these monies will be allowed to be used to make up lost revenues during the pandemic. So when you heard Jorge talk about the sales tax, and when you heard him talk about the hotel tax and property tax, whatever we projected that we would achieve in the current year and we didn't achieve, we can use that money to project in that category to make sure that our general fund is not in a deficit like it is listed in the report that you just heard. Apparently the state has now sent us an email. We had to go in and recover or reactivate our application with the Emergency Management Grant System. We have now completed that. We have been informed by them that we are active. Our SAM registration for federal grant has just been renewed, and so we're active with that. And so we qualify, and our application was approved for the disbursement. The disbursement, there are going to be two disbursements. One, they're indicating that as early as August the 2nd, that they're going to make the request for the money. We believe that that money is going to be transferred to the state on August the 7th. And we believe that at some point in time, they will wire transfer that money into the city's bank account, into the general fund. The first disbursement is going to be for $512,000. And I believe that the second amount of money that is coming in is going to be for a like amount that will be delivered in October, early October. And so that'll keep us in good shape, and it'll make up for all the losses that we basically took in when the pandemic and all the economic activity occurred. And we will be putting together some proposals for you to consider, and we will present them to you, and it'll be kind of like a checkoff list. We're doing estimates of different things that we're doing. Rather than doing any one large project, I think we have a series of things that are all over town that need to be done that we've never had an opportunity to be able to do. And I would like to see how we can address each one of those individual things. And we'll present it to you for program review, and you decide what it is that you want, as much money as we get. And once we hit that ceiling, then you would be able to know that those projects would be put into action for proposals, for design, for whatever it takes. A lot of them are simple projects that probably won't take long design times, and so we'll be able to see the immediate results of those things. Some of them relate to the drainage issues that we have, because we have a lot of drainage issues and we've never been able to address it. It's through no fault of any of the current council members or the mayor. These were things that were done many years ago. They set certain things in place, and so we're going back in and trying to correct them, because they affect people's houses, how they get in, how they get out. It affects the activities in their families, and it affects the overall safety of the community, and so we want to make sure we address those things. And we're going to be presenting that to you. We also bought purchased some pieces of equipment that were very expensive in October, and we told you that we were going to come back in the spring, and we were going to do a long-term loan that we have a company that we work with called Government Capital. We will be presenting that to you. And basically what we do is when we buy the equipment, we pay cash up front. We get those pieces of equipment, and then we break them up into monthly payments so that it's easier for us to deal with. And so that money comes back into the system even though we've already expensed it out. And then Jorge takes them and puts them into a long-term depreciation on our financial statements. And so you will be seeing that. So there's going to be some adjustments taking place, and at the same time we'll be preparing a budget for discussion. Later on this month, we will get a certified public document from the appraisal district that gives us the certified tax rolls for the community, and we're hoping to see the numbers not drop dramatically so that we can sustain the tax rate that we currently have and not have to do any increases with all the things that we're trying to do to make sure that we stay fiscally sound. But you'll have opportunities all along in the process to have input and to make decisions based on what we're presenting to you.
Am I right by saying that last month and this month, due to, I guess, the DPS renting those hotels, motels, the tax rate is going to be going up, or the amount?
There's three things that are going to happen. I heard from one of the hotel owners that came in and had a discussion with me that all of the DPS people are paying hot taxes. There is another outfit that's here that's called Crucial Solutions, and they're the ones that have government contracts, and apparently they are trying to claim that they are exempt from the hotel tax. And so they've sent letters to different property owners that they believe that they're exempt. The gentleman that I talked to, I said to him, unless the person, the way I understand the law, unless that person stays in a hotel room for 30 days, he's exempt. But this company comes in and books rooms for 21 days. And the people stay in the rooms for 21 days. And they get 2 or 3 days off, and then they come back. And what this man was telling me was that they were exempt because the company was booking the rooms. I don't think that's accurate. Anyway, there's a dispute. But I'm not the guy that interprets the law. We have a contract with a company called Municode, and they come in and they select certain hotels to be audited. And I'm not saying that they're going to find fault with that, but it won't be the first time. And they generally give us a report, and they basically said, this hotel is off in our figures by X, and so it's our check and balance that what they're doing is the right thing by the law, and all we're trying to do is follow the law. So we're going to do those three things, and hopefully it'll have positive results for everybody. But the good thing is that the hotel industry in the community, regardless of the hot tax, is doing well because they're all full, and they're all getting a lot of business. Because last year they didn't, and last year they had a very hard year.
Mr. Flores, any other report for us?
No, sir.
Councilman, any questions for Mr. Flores?
No, sir.
Mr. Flores,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for that report. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and possible action to reject bid for Ortheast street drainage improvements.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Council. We had a bid for Ortheast Street drainage improvements on June 8th. We went ahead and recommended that company, but they came in a little too high to our estimate. So we are going to say we should reject this bid just because it's a little way over the estimate that was given. And we would like to go out for a rebid whenever y'all decide to. Larry, you can go ahead and let me know whenever you think it's right.
We recommend that you reject the bid because it was too high. It's about $180,000 over what we have. We had only one bidder, and so we're going to advertise again in the Frio Current and probably in another newspaper to try to see if we can elicit more responses, and hopefully we'll get a better price and bring it to you. We're gonna, since we had already advertised it, we're gonna do a 14-day advertisement, and at the end of the 14 days, we'll receive the bid. Bianca is gonna send the bids to the individual. Did Erica call you? Erica called you?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Erica's gonna call you and make sure that we go over the bids and the format of the bids to make sure it complies with the requirements. And we will open in 14 days, and hopefully at the next council meeting in August, bring it back to you with a better result.
Am I correct that Ortheast Street is right there at the railroad tracks, close to that property where the water well is, and the property that?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, the design is going to use the street surface as drainage with curb and gutter on either side. It's got I want to say a culvert on one side
Yeah, I believe so.
that comes in and leads into the street.
It's on that little Y.
It'll improve it much better than what it is. It's not the last piece of that deal.
Yeah.
Because there's another piece that we need to do, but it'll get us halfway there, so we're almost there.
Okay.
Thank you.
We need to vote.
Any other questions on item number 10, Councilman?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Tonight, I need a first motion to approve, to reject the bid for item number 10.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion and possible action to approve final completion of final contractor's application for payment submitted by Briscoe Architecture Conservation and in the amount of $32,918 for the Stockman's National Bank building.
The phase one of Stockman's National Bank has been completed. They're going to be doing some cleanup around the area. Phase one was to make the building airtight, rain tight. We put new roofs, we put windows, we put doors, we sealed the building. We did a lot of work on the inside, shored up the walls. We put in foundations to make sure that the cracking in the walls was gone. We ended up doing different things to the building in order to make sure that it would stand up. And we're finished with the project. We currently have, I believe it's $32,000 in retainage. You have a copy of the draws that are done both by approved by the architect and also by the city. And so we're just closing out the project, and we're in the process of putting together a bid document that we're going to be putting out for bid for phase two of this project, and it includes the electricity, the air conditioning, the things that we need to finish the building so that we can move into it. And so we'll be going out on bids, and we will bring that document back to you for award to whoever does or gets the final bid. But we do ask you to approve this so that we can go ahead and close out the project and go ahead and give them the money.
Will the final pictures of that building be taken at the final, I guess, of the project? Or?
Yes, I had Mr. Mendoza go to the building, and he took a series of photographs that we've now put on our blog that basically show the inside. The last piece that I think they worked on was a little canopy that they put in the front. That is not the what it's finally going to look like. I believe right now all you have is 2 poles that are there. Those poles are going to be finished either with brick or with some sort of wood structure to dress it up, and it'll look very nice once we're finished.
Okay.
Councilman, any other questions on item number 11?
No, sir.
If not, I need a first motion to approve item number 11.
Aye.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12.
We're going to table it. You need a motion to-
Yeah, we're gonna table item number 12. I need a first motion to be able to table item number 12. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action on the request submitted by Superintendent Mr. Ruben Cervantes, requesting permission for the use the Alexander Convention Center with rental fee waived for their annual welcome back convocation.
We generally work with the school district on many items, and we interchange equipment when we have an opportunity, and so we try to help each other out. The city owns a facility, and the only way to waive the fee is to come to council, and so that is not something that anybody on staff can do. It has to be done by council. We recommend that you approve it, and we're just going to encourage them to make sure that they try to keep as much social distance between each other when they do have the presentation, because believe it or not, our thing with the pandemic is still going on, and it's probably going to reoccur this fall. Hopefully not, but it looks like it is.
Councilman, any questions on that?
No, sir.
Not, I need a first motion to approve item number 13.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 14, discussion and possible action on a proposal submitted by Engineering Utility Solutions Incorporated for evaluations and recommendations on the city's natural gas cathodic protection system in the amount of $55,715.
This is there's a lot of engineers, but there's particular engineers that are very specific in what they're able to do. And so we had to look long and hard to find this company. The Railroad Commission came in about a year ago, I think, or maybe October, 6-7 months ago. They found out that our cathodic protection was not what it should be. The cathodic protection is a system where you take the pipelines that are iron, that are made out of cast iron, and we have a part of our system that is made out of cast iron. The cathodic protection prevents the deterioration of the steel, and the reason you do that is to prevent leaks. We were faulty in our report. We are given a certain amount of time to correct that. We're in the process of correcting some of that. We want to be able to hire these people to come in and to give us the recommendations of what we need to do. If you'll recall, when we started the project on Pool Street, we as a unit as a team, decided that we were gonna eliminate the steel, because it is steel on Pool Street, and that we were gonna convert to poly. And so that will give us a positive score with Railroad Commission. And we're also talking with Love's about putting in a poly line all the way to Love's, the new truck stop that we're looking to develop in the south. And but we would recommend that you allow us to have the contract with this company so that they can come in and do the work. And then once they finish what they do, they will bring a report and we'll bring it to council. And then at that point, we'll determine what we're gonna do moving forward. We are gonna have an audit in October, again, from the Railroad Commission. And so we wanna make sure that we present something positive to them, that we're in fact working with them, and the things that they tell us that we need to fix, that we're in fact fixing them. The gas unit is a very important asset to the city, and it's very valuable to the city. And as you can tell by what happened in the winter, the only way that some people were able to stay warm is because our gas system didn't freeze. And so they lost electricity, but people still had gas, and so many people were still able to stay warm. So we would ask that you make a motion to approve this contract with this company.
Have we worked with this company before, sir?
Never, because we've never had the issue before.
Is it the problem throughout the whole city of Cotulla or in a certain area of town?
There's certain areas that it's low, and they have measuring devices. And so we have some areas that are real strong, but then you go away from the areas that are real strong and you have weaknesses in the area, and that's where they gig you.
Councilman, any other questions on item number 14?
One question. You only have one company that was able to do this because they're hard to find?
Yes.
Okay.
And you have engineers in the audience, and none of them do this work. They would have, if you contract with one of them, they then would have to go to this company and sub to them
To do their part.
and do the overhead, and so you would end up paying a little
more.
bit more money. These people have good references. They've done, they're currently doing work in Corpus Christi for the city of Corpus Christi. And so we checked them out, and they have good references.
Yeah. I only ask because I know usually you want to have at least two, so the price is more competitive, but
It's a professional service, and so the best that you can do would be to do an RFQ and then select from the RFQ.
I'm not familiar with.
Well, it's a request for qualifications. So you wouldn't actually do it like a bid because it's a professional service. So it's excluded
Okay.
from purchasing laws. It's just like you do accountants or auditors, that type of thing.
Okay.
Councilman, any other questions? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 14. First motion made by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second. Second by Mr. Zertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, discussion and possible action to approve the services agreement between Topside Civil Group LLC and the City of Petula to provide engineering services for building permit or plat reviews.
We already are using Jorge Martinez. Jorge, do you want to stand up?
Yes, sir.
We're already using Jorge Martinez to do a lot of the work. He does a lot of the surveying of properties that we buy or areas that are in dispute as to what are the right boundary lines of different property. And he's doing a lot of small projects that are throughout the city. And this is just formalizing that proposal. And it's basically based on an hourly rate that he put together. Would you like to discuss?
Yes,
Mr. Martinez?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So this proposal is primarily to address when you get projects coming in for permit, Example being the Love Store truck stop. Whenever you get an engineer or developer coming in to submit plans to the city usually has to hire out an engineer or a licensed engineer to review those documents to make sure that they comply with your ordinances. So this is a way that the city has, instead of having an in-house city engineer, you outsource it and you allow the engineer to review the plans on the city's behalf, provide comments, give recommendations, and the developers or their engineers have to comply. It's very, very common. It's not something that's unusual.
Jorge started his own company. He used to work for S&B Infrastructure that was doing work for the city. He's currently doing work for the county as well, and so he pretty much knows the community well because of those experiences that he had, and that's why we're making the recommendation.
Plus, he's very knowledgeable. He's always been the face that we've always seen in all of our meetings. And we feel very comfortable with that.
Is that
working
your
with him.
company name, Topside?
Yes, sir. That is coming.
So,
And are these new rates or these are the rates that you're currently charging?
They're the same rate. They're actually less than what you were getting charged previously when I was at S&B. Obviously, smaller firm. So,
anything else you would like to address the council, Mr.
no,
Martinez?
we're here to help. I just wanted to make sure the council understands that. And anything that, if you have any questions, it's like anything else. Feel free to ask. There's nothing you can't ask that I can't answer. So, and I'm here to help. Like I said, for the community. Like Mr. Devalina mentioned, I do work on the same capacity for the county. So I'm very well versed in the city, their ordinances, their infrastructure, and same thing with the county. So.
Councilman, any questions for Mr. Martinez?
No, sir.
If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 15. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Moving on to item number 16. Discussion and possible action to solicit a professional service and request statement for qualifications to provide engineering and surveying services.
This is a requirement of the grant that I spoke to you about earlier. We do have to do a solicitation of engineers, just like the county is doing the solicitation, so that they can actually work on those TechDOT grants. And so we have the bid package together. Bianca is going to post it. We will do the necessary paperwork, and then based on the submittals by different engineering companies, and we will have, I'm sure, several engineering companies submit. We will then sit down and do a scoring, and we will present that information to you, and then you will make the selection, whoever you believe is a better candidate. And we will bring that back to you. But we do want to have a motion from you to allow us to proceed to go do the solicitation.
Councilman, any questions on item number 16? Now I seek a first motion to approve item number 16. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Alejandro Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 17, discussion and possible action on a proposal submitted by Gprs Incorporated for a ground penetration radar survey as part of the Cristo Rey mapping project to locate unmarked graves in conjunction with the cemetery litigation settlement with Lasalle County.
If you'll recall, we've been talking about this for a while. We've been trading information back and forth. One of the things that we're concerned is that we don't know literally where all the bodies are buried. And so we believe that there may be some areas that have bodies that don't have markers on them or anything. In respect to what is going on, we want to be able to go and to see if the ground has been disturbed and whether there are any objects on the subsoil to make sure that we can adequately map the cemetery, and so that we can bring it back to a good operating standard for that cemetery to continue in the process. Part of the board is going to be presented or appointed by the county. Part of it, you've already appointed a person to represent the city. I believe the judge and I are ex-official members of the board, and the county is going to take fiscal responsibility for the process, but we're going to start cataloging and marking graves to where they're supposed to be. And the whole process is to go through the entire cemetery and find out which plots are there, which ones are used, which ones are empty, and what pieces of land are empty. The city is going to exchange with the county an additional tract of land so that that cemetery can continue to expand, and it'll have additional land to be able to go into the future with areas that they can use. Jorge?
Just wanted to clarify, so this proposal, GPR, what that stands for is ground penetrating radar. It's essentially an equipment, sort of like a lawnmower that they run up and down the cemetery. It is very common. A lot of communities do resource this to see what's down there. As an example, if there's any graves that are pre-1940, a lot of times those caskets collapse, and what this equipment will read is the void. In addition to metals, things that they may have inside, it will also reads the air gaps that are in those caskets to tell you that there's something present. So it's a good technology. It's not new. It's been around for a while, but it's very unique in what it's trying to do. So in this case, you want to know what's down there. If there's anything that shows up that's not marked. If there's existing roads on the Cristo Rey. If there's anything underneath the road, it'd be something to hopefully it would identify it, and it would give you a marker of some sort so that we either can determine if it actually is a site, or we can say there's nothing here. This is step one in the process. They'll provide a map showing everything of what they found. The second step would be to actually inventory all the grave sites with names so that it can be categorized for the city. So, but this is like I said, this is a proposal to do that service by this company, and like I said, it's a specialty service. So these people come out of San Antonio, they come to Laredo. To Cotulla. They've done some in Pearsall, so they do this up and down the areas. But if you have any questions on it, like I said, these are things that steps that we got to take to see what's going on.
What's the depth of the piece of equipment, on how far in depth does it
So the deeper the items are, the less accurate it is. I'll give you some example. There's some soils that they don't hold well to this technology. So if you have something that's like a limestone that's very dense, it will disrupt the imagery down below the ground. But for the most part, for our area, we're looking at utilizing this not only for this scenario, this type of service, but also for utilities that are underground that we don't have any way of knowing what's under the roadways. It will be used for that. So to answer your question, it varies based on the soil type, but it can go at 10, 20 feet depending on what's down there, what the soil is.
And most of the graves are probably 6-5 feet somewhere in there.
Yeah. Councilman, any other questions for Mr. Martinez?
No, sir.
Not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 17. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sertucci. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 18. Report on 2022 LaSalle County Appraisal District Proposed Budget.
I provided you a copy for your information of the proposed appraisal district budget, and it's there for your review. And if you have any questions about anything on it, we'd be happy to call the appraisal district and ask you.
And this is just information for us to read.
It's information for you to read.
No action needed.
No, I believe they're going to be working within what they currently are allocated, and I think they have some surplus funds that they're going to use as well.
So, Councilman, if you'd like to read over them on your own time, please feel free. That way, when we do come back for our next meeting, if there's any questions you guys might have, we can answer them for you. On item number 19 and item number 20, we are going to table those items. So I need a first motion to the table item number 19. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Alejandro Garcia. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 20, I also need a first motion to table item number 20. I need a first motion. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Alejandro Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Before we adjourn the meeting, I'd like to say that our 4th of July celebration was excellent. The turnout was very, very good. I want to thank our staff, our city staff, for stepping up and taking over the festival. They did a very tremendous job. I'm sure they had a long day and very exhausting day, actually. But in the end, it was all really nice. I don't know if you guys attended it, but I did, and the firework display on Sunday was excellent. We did have an Android, a drone, I'm sorry, a drone recording. I don't know, did we post that on Facebook, Miss?
There's some pictures in the blog on our website.
We hired a young man that we found out that he had a drone and he knew how to do this work here locally, and so we asked him to give us a proposal to do the activities. He flew with the drone the parade. The parade is probably the largest parade that I've seen here in the last 13 years. We had a lot of participants. We had some participants from out of town, but more importantly, we had a lot of participants locally that we did not know were going to come out, and as word kept getting around that so-and-so was going to be in the parade, we would get a call from somebody else who wanted to be in the parade. And that's what a parade's all about. It's about community, and the community really responded well. That drone took a picture of all of the participants in the activity. He also went out to the fairgrounds and took pictures of the bands, of the crowds, and of the fireworks show that we did. He is almost finished with that, and he's going to provide it to the city, and we're going to post it on our blog and on our website so that those of the community that were not able to go can see the activity and hopefully will join that activity next year. We intend to form some committees that we believe need more input from the community, and we want local citizens to participate in making that activity happen and making it larger than what it was. And we think there is a lot of momentum and there's a lot of enthusiasm from people that I've spoken to, and hopefully next year it'll be larger and bigger than it was this year.
I also want to thank law enforcement, our county sheriff department, our state troopers, everybody who was there to keep everybody safe, everybody who came out and just had a good time. I think this festival was very well needed. Everybody wanted to get out. It was time, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I hope that next year we have the same success or a greater success than we had this year. Councilman, at this time, if you guys want to say anything, one at a time, Mr. Rodriguez.
I want to personally give thanks to Bianca and her other co-worker for her hard work. I seen her and her other co-worker and some employees. They worked hard for our city, you know. And personally, I've always seen our city employees. We're very blessed to have such good workers out there. I've always seen them, and they work hard. We're very blessed inside of the office and outside of the office employees. I mean, we're very blessed to have good city employees. I just want to thank them.
We did have many volunteers. A principal volunteer that did a lot of organizing was Jeronima Garza, who kind of put the parade together with some help from city staff.
Yeah, special thanks to her.
But she went out and did a lot of calling and a lot of door knocking to get some people to come in. and obviously, some of the things that happen also happen because of the volunteers like her.
Any other councilman that would like to say something? If not, at this meeting, thank you all for listening in. Thank you, councilman, for coming in. Mr. Technician, what time is it? 8:06. This meeting is adjourned. It is now 8:06. And thank you